Welcome to Custom Home Builder Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software designed specifically for the professional home builder. Hello, this is Carol King, the developer of Custom Home Builder Solutions, wanting to give you a little look-see at something that's coming soon. This video is being done March 31st, 2020. And probably during the month of April, you will be seeing these things. This is to the current users of CHS, so they can see a new thing that's coming. I've opened the active jobs dashboard for this job, Smith John. What this has to do, I'm going to go ahead and click this comments for this job in a cost code. I already selected a cost code. And I'm going to click to open comments. And that's where you're making comments back and forth that you've done before, but you're going to suddenly see now how different this looks. As you can see, the comments are not all strewed across in one line, that you can scroll through and read them. And you can see that there's yellow for if it's from a contact, like mostly that would be from your vendors, because when you do a contact and select to send it to a vendor, they can reply in an email that you can send out when you do these comments to the vendor. And so their reply can come back in here and be part of your comments. They can do things like if you send them a purchase order, they can click a button to sign the purchase order and we'll be able to send it back. Various things like that, and then there'll be a trail of all of it here. Don't pay any attention to my comments here because it's all me testing a bunch of silly stuff, but notice that yellow is from a contact, peach is from a CHS user, in other words you, and green is a message we got from the buyer. So let's see if we don't, these are all peach ones, meaning they're all from me, mostly, because it's just me that's been playing. Here's another one we got from Big Buck Testing when I went and played like I was being that Big Buck vendor. Here's a longer comment that makes more sense than all the ones where I just say test, test, test. And I think that I triggered one way back that was from a buyer when I was testing. You would, of course, if you're back and forth in conversation with the buyer, have a whole bunch more green ones, but let me see if I can find a green one. These are all the comments that are relating to cost code 2105 and job Smith John. So this was a change order line that was for the cost code 2105. Also, you can click on this and see the hard copy that you stored of the change order. I'm sorry, I play with that too much. I shouldn't be doing that old stuff. Let's see what we have here. Up here, I can see, I think I have a hard copy stored of the purchase order, so that I'm clicking on it and being able to see that hard copy. And a vendor that you send it to should be, if you've stored a hard copy, if you have not, then it shows that a vendor seeing this will click and it'll be said that the builder has not stored a hard copy yet. This edit PO will only be seen from within CHS, and it opens the regular screen for editing the PO, and buyers that are on this same thing or vendors will not see that thing for this information about the contact. There's last sent information from when, if I actually decided to send the comment as an email that they can actually then reply to. So it's showing what date and what email addresses it got sent to there. This shows that there were others besides just James Randall that it was sent to, which opens the very same window. But it found that it was sent to some other users besides the main user that was selected to send that message to. There's various things. I'm not sure I've saved hard copies of change orders, etc., but that drill down if you've saved a hard copy or it hasn't been deleted, like I think I deleted that particular change order. Let's see it. I think this is a real one that I saved a hard copy for. So you can see how you can see the hard copy of the change order from the comments, so that you would see what the buyer would see if you Big Buck Construction that I sent this to, this is just referencing things that are related to the purchase order, etc. Big Buck Construction would not see this change order link if they were on, various things that they shouldn't see. This is you being a CHS user, so a lot of all these links are all shown to a regular CHS user inside CHS. So I'm going to close this. I could go see everything from and to the payer for this job, from and to the, that kind of thing, but I want to go somewhere else into my testing area. So I'll break this video for a second. In my testing area, this is not something that you will have. You will have maybe some little something that you can just bring up and see all comments for a job, etc. But I'm going to play like I'm a buyer right now, and I'll select that Smith John. And this is my testing. You won't have this type of thing. I might give you something where you could test and see what they'll see. But I'll show you what a home buyer, and actually this is made for mobile. So if they're on their phone, they'll just see this part. For the mobile, they'll be going to a mobile, one that's designed for mobile. And they can click this button to see all comments to and from themselves. And this will be smaller on a phone. It's because I'm on my machine. Like, I can try to make this look like a phone a little bit. So they would be scrolling up and down through the comments like that. And this was one I made a mistake, and it shouldn't be there for the buyer. It's just a boo-boo I made. But anyway, you'll notice that all these are to buyer, or from buyer. And that's all they'll see is stuff that goes to and from buyer. And you can see that they're not seeing nearly as much stuff like this to drill down on. But they could, I don't know if this one's available, but they could end up, and this will behave differently on your phone. It'll go to another little tab on your phone, and once you open the change order. So they might see that change order that you stored as a hard copy. If it's something that the buyer should see, like a change order, that kind of thing. So notice they're not going to see anything about any, like here, this one's about a purchase order, and I did go ahead and send it to the buyer, but they don't get to drill down on the purchase order. So they're not seeing purchase orders. But if I was a contact, which is basically your vendors, but you could still select it. It's all contacts, even that Smith John, but let's do that Big Buck one. And I'll select that same job that I'm just testing. I'm playing like I'm being Big Buck now. And I think my mistaking, and they'll get on with their mobile. It's hard to demonstrate it on a mobile from my computer, but and this is from Contact Big Buck Construction, so they see that one. I think my mistaken one is in here. This one shouldn't be here. It's a thing I was entering in the background. And so it's to Big Buck, to or from Big Buck right here. But you can see they can drill down on the purchase order, but they can't open other contact information and or even the thing about what email addresses it was sent to. Now this is me being like the vendor Big Buck. I'm seeing things that were sent to me, so I should be able to see the comments and that kind of thing. And if, let me see, I think it was Apr2020. I'm going to search for everything that's just a 361, and I want to see if there's a purchase order one. Notice that I'm the vendor that got the purchase order, so all of a sudden I have a thing that I can do to sign. If I'd signed it already, I would be getting a message that I'd signed it already, and notice how, this would be different for on a phone. It would look a little more like that. So if I do something, about signing it, and I commit it, and I say I'm John Brown, it also is going to store that. And now it's going to send an email back to the user that sent the PO to them. And so I'll close it, and that automatically happened. So let's make, I came back so it was wide again, so let's make it narrow. Notice that this says this was sent to Carol King, who originally sent the purchase order message to them. and that John Brown with Big Buck Construction has signed the purchase order with purchase order number, and CHS has marked the PO as returned signed. So there's not a signature thing because this is from Big Buck, and this is me looking at it. But you'll see what happens if I click this pencil edit icon being Big Buck now. It says this purchase order has been marked as signed, etc. And you'll see information about that showing up if you are a user and opened to edit. But they can look at the purchase order again, and once you store a hard copy, what I'm going to have to do is say, this hard copy will be out there for them, to see. It's going to send an email, you'll have an email going saying, here's your purchase order. So you don't want to be doing your hard copies until you're done with it and not going to make any more changes. But anyway, Comments is not all about purchase orders. We're even going to have probably a Pay Now button for the home buyers when they see the change order stuff, or interim draw comments, etc. But you can see how much nicer it is to... I happen to open one that has a lot of comments because I opened one for all to and from Big Buck, etc. So that's how it is. If you happen to select a purchase order, like let's select, and you're being a user. Now I'm being a user, and let's look for that purchase order 361 just because, and you're just being a user and you're over on the PO screen. This is my test screen, but you would get something like this. It automatically knows I'm looking for all the comments for purchase order and Smith John. This is what would happen if you click the comments bubble on the purchase order window or a list of purchase orders, etc. So what I'm seeing is every comment that has anything to do with that 361, and including the fact that it's been signed, that kind of thing, and any other actual costs or purchase order, anything that had the purchase order attached to it, like this scheduled task. So you should just see on this pretty much back and forth with the vendor, and it'd be yellow if it's the vendor. And I have other things on this screen like you've kind of been used to seeing if you've been doing comments, where I could see all of them for this job and cost code, or all for the job, or all to and from the contact for this job, or all comments to and from this particular contact, or anything that referenced this Big Buck references, and anything from this buyer all to and from the payer or the buyer for the job, that kind of thing. So I just wanted to give you a little preview of what's coming. Pay no attention to this window. It's my test window so that I can just do things real fast and test things. So this window won't be there. So that's all, and I hope everybody is staying well in this time of the virus. And have a good day.